Hello, it's now September 6, 2010. This is my entry into the 2010 Aquatic Gardeners Association competition. I call this composition Jungle Bubble. As you can see, it's very jungly. There's a lot of Echinodurus telanus back there. A little bit of what I think is a giant red crypt, but I'm not sure, on the right. There's also some green cryptocornes fighting to compete back here by the piece of wood. And there is, by the way, a little bit of moss on the wood. It's hard to see. And in the back, of course, we have a large Amazonicus. And as far as fish are concerned, we have these two ember tetras here that seem to be a pair. And one of three cardinals has just floated by. And this beautiful ram cichlid down here is a blue ram. Very, very beautiful fish. I have some nice shots of him on the Aquatic Gardeners page that should be linked in the description. So there's two blue rams, actually. I think they're a male and female, judging from their behavior. And there's two Otocinclus catfish and two Yamato, Amano shrimp. And the Amano shrimp are rarely visible because they have a full-time job getting rid of algae, as do the Otocincluses. There's an Otocinclus right now. My camera doesn't want to focus on him, but there he is. So down here, I have this really lovely stuff. It's this very dark green, small-leafed plant. It's an Anubia, but it's not an Anubias nana. The leaves are actually much smaller than that. You can see the blue ram playing in front of the shell there. Let's see if I can get one of the cardinals to come out, besides this enterprising young guy. Well, so, there's one way back there. You can see him. Thank goodness for HD. So this isn't just to try to win a competition. In fact, judging from what I've seen in prior years, I don't think I have much chance. My point here is to show how to construct a no moving parts aquarium. Basically all that we have coming in, let me zoom back a little bit, is this twisty light with a twisty neck. It's an LED light. It's about 4 point something watts for the foreground. And then in the background, and sometimes I switch them, I exchange them, is another 11 watt, and this is a fluorescent. So between the fluorescent and the LED, we're looking at a total of 15 watts. Very little light. This bowl, by the way, this is not a perfect bowl. There are some aberrations in the glass. You probably can't see them here in the video. But this bowl cost me about 45 US bucks. It was made in China. The entire bowl grossly is about 35 liters. I suspect, though, that because I'm using up so much of the gravel on the bottom, I had to make the gravel about, even 10 or 11 centimeters deep, just because of the curvature of the bowl, so that I'd have enough space at the sides to get some good rooting on the plants around the edges. I suspect that I'm only using probably 29 liters or something like that. Maybe let's call it 30 liters. But back to the point of this is just to show that you can create a virtually independent, not quite independent ecosystem with no filtration at all. The only thing I'm adding again is 15 watts of light, and I could probably cut that if I used all LEDs. And I'm adding carbon dioxide. Here, I'll show you the carbon dioxide. A little system down here, which is, here's my CO2 system, CO2. And the regulator is reading about 70 or so, 71 psi. And there's a little bubble counter down there and a splitter. And it comes up here to the back of the bowl. And here you can see CO2 bubbling out. So that's all that's going in. There's light and there's CO2. And then I use some Seachem trace, Seachem iron, and Seachem potassium. And I don't pay too much attention to the recommended dosage. I tend to go on the low side, and I basically intuit based on my plant health or lack thereof, and the rate of growth of algae as to whether I'm overshooting or undershooting any of the various nutrients. And then of course nitrates and whatnot come from the fish. And then of course the plants also produce oxygen for the fish. Now granted, let me show you, there is an open top to this thing. So here, I'll take this back a little bit so maybe you can see. So this is this big, huge bowl opening. And I do, by the way, as far as water changes are concerned, basically at the end of a week, if there's been no water change, this water is probably clean enough to drink. don't try that at home, but as far as it looks, it's clean enough to drink. I don't need to change it at all, but I do, simply to give myself access down to the plants on the bottom so I can trim them back. If anything, the growth is too excessive, as you can see. Basically, I clean out the excessive growth on the bottom of the tank, on the bottom of the bowl, to make it look a little bit more reasonable and not just a total jungle. And so that's why I actually changed the water. And I do like to scrape off any excess algae that I find on the glass, but that's pretty rare because the otocincluses are busy all day doing that for me. So I think one thing that's really important here is bioload. I mean, as you can see, I have only 3 cardinals, 2 embers, 2 otocincluses, 2 rams, 2 Yamato shrimp, and 2 eventually otocinclus. So it's not a heck of a lot of bioload for 8 gallons, particularly when I've got this many plants, and I think that's part of the key to sustainability. But it's just great to be able to have something this beautiful on your desk that really frankly helps me think and focus during the day, but to not be dependent on any plastic parts or motor parts or anything. It's completely silent. The only thing going in is gas and light. And that, by the way, is a shell down there. Let's see. Oh, here comes my ram. If only I could get him in focus. My digital camera doesn't have the greatest focus. Anyhow, so there it is. So I'm sure you can do this on a much larger scale, and I'm sure I could get rid of the need for light simply by putting it outside if I had good outside access and temperature support year-round that would be compatible with this kind of environment. Unfortunately, I don't have those. So in your case, if you have a really cold environment, you might have to actually put a heater in here. I don't, because the weather's pretty warm right now. But that's about it. Even if you put a heater in, you wouldn't have any moving parts. And it's just beautiful. You can see off to the left is my computer. It's a great way to focus when you're working on something complicated on the computer. Just take a step back and look at the miracle of nature. So anyway, that's it. That's my jungle bubble. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope I've inspired a few of you to try to make your aquarium so sustainable that you hardly need any maintenance at all.